Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Seasonal Tokens Podcast, where Polar interviews people so you can do more investing and less gambling.
I suppose this is one of the very common mistakes that people do, that they trust one project and put all their money in this project because they really like the concept of this project, or they have heard that it's possible to make thousands and thousands of percentages of this project. That's why they're going to put all their funds so they can become millionaires overnight. But this rarely is the case. So this is one of the mistakes that most of the beginner investors in crypto are doing. But what are the other most common mistakes that you have seen people are doing in crypto investing?
Probably time to introduce the four-step protocol. So this is the one that's protected us from all the scams and the rug pulls and also identified some of the best projects. So we just use, it's again, 4 steps. We use the acronym COIN, C-O-I-N, and C stands for the C-suite, like the CEO, the CFO, the CIO of the company. And there's a lot of people out there who are investing into like Squid Game coin or Dogecoin or something like that. But who actually founded that? What's their experience? What's their background? Are they a real person? Because Cointelegraph said in 2018 that 90% of the cryptocurrencies were scams. And if you look on their websites and their white papers, which is what we do all day, every day, you find there's stock images of people who are just supermodels or people who don't even really exist, or there's no listing of the founders at all. Now, why would I invest in this project? Would you invest in a company that's run by someone that you've never even heard of and you don't know what their background is? You can't check them out on LinkedIn or on social medias or anything like that. So that's one of the big ones, is people see something on YouTube or Elon Musk said something about it, or my friend's cousin invested into it and they've already made 300% and it's going to the moon, it's going to make 10,000%. Like, okay, but who's behind this project? What's their experience? What's their background? Have they run similar businesses? So, number one is always look into the founders or the C-suite. The second point on the checklist is O for offering. So what does this project actually do? Like there was a project a few years ago that's like, we're going to put fruit on the blockchain. And, we're going to have this fruit coin and it's going to have fruit on the blockchain. It's going to be great. Like, yeah, but how does that solve any problems? What does that do to help me? It doesn't. Right? That was the simple answer. And that one was a scam and it took people's money and they all ran away. Whereas one of the ones that we invested into 7 years ago was Power Ledger. And it was started by a couple of guys sitting in Perth saying, they've got solar panels all over their roof. And that was fine when their kids lived at home. But once the kids moved out, they're generating a lot more power than what they could actually use. And when they sent the power back to the grid and the electricity company was buying it, they only got 10 cents per unit. But when they were using electricity, they had to pay the company 30 cents per unit. And they're like, this is wrong. We're paying 30 cents, we're only getting 10 cents. Wouldn't it be great if I could share the solar power with my neighbour? I could sell the solar power to my neighbour for 15 cents and I'm happy because I'm getting 50% more and the neighbour's happy because he's buying it for half the price. And as it turned out, the electricity grid, all the houses are connected. The internet, everything's connected. So the offering was, why don't we create this kind of eBay peer-to-peer sort of system where we can share solar power with each other? Great offering. Whether that's a cryptocurrency or whether that's a business, you'd look at that and you go, yep, I'll invest in that. And one of their first investors in these 2 little guys from Perth was Richard Branson, because he's got solar panels all over Necker Island and he loves the sustainable solar panel. Richard Branson's investing in it. So happy days. It's a great solution and it's been going for years and years and years and still solving problems. So that actually, funnily enough, that brings us to the third COI. I stands for investors. Who else is investing into this project? Because we got into Power Ledger after Branson had invested into it. And Richard Branson, he's a smart cookie. He's been around for a long, long time. He's an older bloke. He's got a lot of money. And he's still got a smile on his face. He's not stressed. If he's investing into it, obviously he's got teams and teams of people who have done their due diligence and done their homework, because he's not a silly bloke. And we want to look at who else is investing into it and what sort of people they are. Because if you hear about a project and you don't know the founders, you don't understand the offering, you don't understand what problem they're solving, and the investors are just a whole bunch of guys on YouTube and they like it because it's called I Love Boobs coin or it's called Squid Game coin or something silly, those investors are all idiots, right? And they think they're going to get rich, but really the person who started this thing is going to take all their money. So you want to make sure the investors who are putting their money into it are actually smart people. And then obviously once you've invested into something and you've done your research into it, down the track somewhere, you're going to want to be able to sell that thing. And this is what you were talking about before, Paul, about getting your money out, right? So the final step N, is for network. Because if you've just invested into this thing and then it's gone up 1,000% and you go, okay, now I want to take my money out and buy my Lamborghini, there needs to be a big network of buyers. So you have a look for the project, check out their social, their Discord, their Slack, their Telegram channel, their Twitter, their Facebook, whatever. Because when you want to sell, there's got to be a lot of buyers. I looked at a project yesterday and they had 16 followers on Twitter. Now, this project said, oh, yeah, we've been around for 5 years and we're like number one in Bucharest or Belarus or someone like that. I'm like, you got 16 followers on Twitter. So if I invest with you, I'll be number 17. And then when I want to sell, there's only going to be 16 other people who are actually buying. So it's a no from me. So that's the biggest mistakes. It's very easy. COIN, check the C-suite, check the offering, check the investors, check the network. And if you do it well, it takes 5 minutes to check out one project. And this is the problem. Most people, they just see a coin they like the name of. And Squid Game coin is a perfect example because they saw it on Netflix and went, oh, yeah, I'm going to buy this. They didn't look into it, and those people lost all their money. It takes you a long time. I don't know how much money you make in an hour, but it might take you a lot of hours to make $1,000. And it'll take you about 60 seconds to lose that money because you didn't say, I'm going to take 5 minutes first. It's going to take 5 minutes to protect my money, easy.
Yeah, absolutely. What you are saying sounds very easy, but at the same time, we shouldn't forget that we are humans and we tend to be lazy. So even if you have to do 5 minutes, why you would do this 5 minutes when you can watch 5 minutes more of Netflix or 5 minutes spent doing nothing or something like that. So I suppose that there are also other ways to reduce the chances of becoming part of another rug pull or something like that. But like I said, we are lazy and we prefer to hope that what people are saying is true than making the research ourselves. So what you're suggesting as a method is something that I'm hearing for the first time, and it sounds like a very great and easy strategy, like I said, for doing your first research on a project. Maybe if you want to invest in the long term, you have to go deeper in the white paper, for example, on the history of the CEOs and also of the history of the investors. But as a starting point, I think your method is really great. So I definitely suggest our listeners to re-listen this part and start using your method when they're making their first decision if they're going to invest in something or not. So what you're saying is...
Not everyone's lazy, though, Paul.
Yeah.
Some people, legit lazy. They just want to do the bare minimum work and make millions of dollars. But for other people and for a lot of our investors, it's like, I'm a dentist. I'm very busy at work and I've got kids and I've got, soccer practice and I've got this and that. So, they legitimately don't have time to spend 5 minutes checking out every project. And when you consider there's 20,000 different projects on the crypto market, that's a lot of 5 minutes to do that. Which is why we exist, not because people are lazy, but because people are busy. And our first investors were, accountants, lawyers, dentists, doctors, financial planners, because they're so busy out at work making money, they don't want to actually do that sort of stuff when they come home. Okay, that's fine. We'll do it for you. You just got to pay us.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying that everyone is lazy, but at the same time, you can probably agree with me that most of the young people are lazy. They don't have this busy life that you're just saying. And they're currently in the crypto, most of the investors are probably young people from what we have heard from the statistics. So I'm talking about that when we are talking about grown-ups, adults, absolutely we are all busy with our personal life, with everything. Yeah. But we know that right now, crypto is mainly young people. So that's why I'm saying that this lazy thing is why there are so many rug pulls and so many people complaining that they have been part of a rug pull.
Yeah.